Fellas, today I'm going to take apart this Tex Racing 101 dogbox transmission. It's a 4-speed. I use this in my pro drift car, and recently I blew out one of the dog rings. So with that being said, I got to take the sucker apart and throw it's one of these guys. Basically the teeth just got worn out. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a professional doing this, but I do rinse a lot on everything. So, you know, anything from my race car to my freaking turbo diesel 6.0 truck. I've been able to figure most of these out. I've taken these trains apart before. It's mostly just snap rings. You need a pretty good snap ring plier set. Other than that, it's not too bad. So let's see if we can figure this out. Tex Racing. It's a 101. It's not a 101A, which a lot of dudes get, and I think that has like a different bearing set inside of it. But yeah, this is just a regular T101. My car makes about 850 foot-pounds of torque with a Edelbrock supercharger. Let me show you that real quick. So it's this guy. It's pretty dirty right now, so whatever. Edelbrock supercharger, LS engine. These transmissions usually hold up pretty good. This one, just, you know, it's probably more of my bad on a misshift or something for what happened. Let's pull this cover off. Two of these transmissions. I picked them up for about 2,500 bucks each used. So, you know, they're not too bad, and luckily I had one. We were out there in Washington, and we needed it, you know, just before we're going to qualify. So I think if you're really good, you could probably rebuild this thing in like an hour. It'd probably take me like 3 hours, who knows. But they're pretty stout. Let's see this guy come off. Okay, here's your selector forks. I pulled this apart at the track just to see what was going wrong with it. And then, yeah, so over here, here's a first gear, second gear, dog rings, and that's what they're supposed to look like. That looks kind of funny, but maybe that's normal. But yeah, see, the shoulders look really good. Now when you come over here, you see that shoulder. It's not good. Pulled these bolts out to 3/8 Allen, if yours is the same, and just pulled it all the way around the case. That way we can separate this. Secondly, this guy has to come off. Two of the bolts are already out, but yeah, these two bolts come off, pull it out, and then we're going to find a snap ring underneath it here. 40, but they look pretty wore out. We might need some new bolts for these guys. Tap it with the rubber hammer. That was easy. So yeah, here's this snap ring guy. See it right here? So we'll just take some reverse snap rings. You could probably do that with the screwdriver, but yeah, let's do this right now. Oh, and then here's this one right here as well. See that guy? All this magic happened with this guy right here. Just a cheap set. Probably got it at O'Reilly's or all that stuff. I'm just one dude with the cell phone. But anyways, got these two guys off, and now I'm just going to start smacking this guy around with the hammer to separate this section here. So, you know, you want to take a little bit of weight off of this side here and probably hold it from there, and you smack it around like this. It's also got these points in here if your transmission has it as well, to be able to separate it. But you don't want to try to gouge this too bad with the screwdriver, so be careful with that. That must come out before this thing will separate, I believe. It's kind of a long, interesting bolt, so don't lose that guy. It holds in a pin in there or something. We'll look at that in a second. So make sure there's no other bolts all the way around the case before you really start whacking at this sucker. That right here actually goes all the way in through there, in through that, and in through this piece. So that definitely needs to come out first. And then we got to pull these guys off, the snap rings, and then there's two bolts right here to get this center plate section separated from this guy. From there, just now pulled off this snap ring, pull this guy out so that we can separate all this. Make sure your orientation of all of these stays the same. Either mark them with like some white out or something in a certain order, or make sure you just place them down in the order they need to go back on. This guy from this guy was kind of a pain. I got out my two 19mm bolts that are right here and right here. Got out, you know, this clip that was here. I'm going to see if I have to take this one off or not, but I think maybe it's just a silicone, and probably just pressed into the housing. See if I can separate this. I did have to pull both of these rings off of here and here. I don't know why there's two, but yeah, there's two of them, and those seem to be the biggest pain in the butt every time I've done this. So those two got to come off, slide them out, and I'm just going to slide it to here, and then I'm going to clean this sucker up right where it's at. You know, just my silicone. I think if I didn't pull those off, like this bearing could get pressed out. I don't think it's like legitimately pressed in there. Oh look, you can see a C-clip actually right there. So that's how I could get that out if I did that. That's why that guy didn't want to move. Okay, I got two of these and they're both built just a little bit different. So, and this one's also got a clamp right in there. So there's no way those guys are moving from in there without pulling those guys. But yeah, I can leave that there for what I'm trying to do, because I can just pull all this out and clean this sucker up. Get it back in. I'm pulling out these two bolts, which hold this brass, what do you want to call this guy? Bushing retainer dude. So it's basically that guy and that, when this is all in there, it keeps this guy in place and it rides on top of it. I've decided to pull it out now. I could have pulled it out earlier, would have probably been a little bit smarter. But anyways, yeah, pulling that out now, and then it's a little bit longer on one side than the other, so just mark its orientation, direction it goes, because I think it's longer on this side. So just mark that. What I'm trying to do, I'm replacing these guys. This whole thing is going to slide right on out. Now my other transmission, I have to take this guy out as well, a couple more clamps, but I mean it's pretty much all just, you know, one of these after another. So long as you got some good snap ring pliers, this thing will come apart and go back together. I would just recommend you either film it or take a picture every time you disassemble something. That way you'll know how it goes back together as far as shims and other deals. But it's not like a normal transmission where everything is press fitted or has synchros and all those little deals. This thing is pretty straightforward, and it's, I guess this thing is probably pretty old, maybe from 70s, 80s, I have no idea. But it's just a Tex 101 dog box used in most crappy drift cars now. Why not? So yeah, both units out. I'm going to count all my gears. So first gear, second, third, fourth. I'm going to actually count all the teeth so I know what my ratios are. Also, maybe I'll measure them that way if I got to order them in the future. Even though anytime I've had to order a part from like RTS, they usually just, you know, I send them a picture and they know what it is. I just tell them what ratio I need. So I usually just count the gears, teeth versus teeth, and they know what I need. But this will also help me to, in the future, know exactly what gear ratios I have. Some trick things that some of the guys do, I think in Formula D, maybe in other motorsports, is maybe they'll run like a super tall third, so it's similar to fourth. So rather than changing out their gear ratio in the back of the car if they don't have a quick change, they can just split it between third and fourth, because the cars make so much power nowadays. I usually switch between my 3.5 rear end and my 3.3. I use a 350Z rear end still. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. And man, you can see this gear is actually pretty pitted. So I wonder how long that's actually gonna last. Maybe I better look into getting another gear. And these things are normally like 250 to 300 a gear set. Like I said, I bought this whole tranny for 2,500 bucks, and I've probably spent 500 to 1,000 on it each year now. So it might be a better investment to get a newer tranny. Maybe they're stronger. But yeah, this is what I'm doing for now. Swapping rebuild. This ice cream cone looking thing was the front input shaft. I know some guys have actually broken this off. I think that's because they're probably using the wrong pilot bearing. As far as what I've got going on with this going to a LS1 engine, I use a 2005 Corvette throwout bearing, so it's like the bigger one. It's not the smaller needle bearing one. It's actually almost like this big, and that goes further out on the crankshaft, which gets a full connection on this, so maybe that's why those guys are breaking that. But if you did break this, it is changeable. This one piece just slides right off of there. Now there was, of course, one more snap ring. It was a pain in the butt to get, and I'll tell you, these suck. They just suck. I really wish I had a better set. But anyway, so now pulling these guys off, and I'm going to swap out both of these dog rings. This is my old 3rd gear dog ring, and you know, it's pretty beat up, and I was looking to change it to this one. You can see the teeth on the dog. I guess that's what you call this. This one's pretty rounded. But anyways, what sucks is this inner diameter is different from each other. So I guess I ended up getting the wrong part for this. My 4th gear one's looking good, which is this guy here. And this is my center section, and it rides over top of this guy. So that's good. But for whatever reason, this 3rd gear one's no good. So I'm gonna have to wait on that until I get a new one of those. And as far as this, I'm wondering if there's any places that can remachine this, because it's all there. I've actually broken one of these apart before, but as far as this, like, it's all there, right? So I wonder if someone can remachine this, fix it, maybe reheat treat it so it's hardened again. So I don't know. Let me guys know in the comments. I think I'm going to end the video with this. As far as reassembling, it's pretty simple. All goes back together just the way it is. And you know, basically, like I said, I'm not a professional at this, but I just wanted to show you it apart, and you guys can figure it out from there. It's not that hard. Just take pictures, record it. Here's also another thing how you know how old this tranny is. This ring is actually attached to the gear. I've heard that's super old when they do it that way. So, but anyways, yep, I hope you guys have fun with your project. I'm just going to slap this sucker back together for now in the reverse order. Throw on some black silicone, high temp stuff. Clean this all up real nice. Throw it together.